This is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 9, verse 3. Therefore, when there shall be earthquakes and uproars in the people in the world. Luke chapter 21, verse 25. And there shall be signs in the suns, and in the moon, and the stars, and upon the earth the scratch of nations with perplexity, the seas, and the raving war. Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh Ba'Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'Hashem, Wakar Kadash. Double honors to the elders, apostles of Great Millstone, pushing his word truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim, scattered through the four corners of the globe, pushing the word truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim, scattered through the four corners of the globe, that be like unto the speckled bird, pushing the word truthfully and sincerely. And I say, shalom to you Akim out there. And this is a news article. The two news articles that I'm about to bring out and relates to the scriptures that I just brought out. And this is a quick sit-down lesson through the spirit, power, grace, and mercy of Yahweh Shai on this Thursday morning at 11:48 a.m. Central Standard Time. On this Thursday morning, like I mentioned before, on this June the 10th, 2022. And this is a news article right here from ampabcnet.au. And this was posted about 8 hours ago and updated 8 hours ago. And the highlight of this news article, and it reads, thousands of Pakistanians protest against India over remarks derating the PROPFET. And it says thousands of Pakistanis have rallied and briefly scuffled with police in their national's capital of recent remarks by the two officials from India ruling party that were derogatory to the Prophet Muhammad. It says they urge all Muslim countries to cut diplomatic ties with New Delhi. The scuffle between demonstrators from the Jamaat-e-Islam Pakistan party supporters and police erupted when the protesters tried to march towards the India embassy in Islamabad of Pakistan, but were stopped it by police. No one was reported hurt in the melee. It says anger has been growing in Pakistan and other Muslim majorities nations since last week, when two spokespeople for India of Bharatiya Janata, if I pronounced the right party, made comments since the insulting of Islam Prophet and his wife Ashia. It says Prime Minister party has suspended one official and expelled the other, while saying it's denouncing insults of the RELIGIOUS figures. The suspension came after the comments of the prompted complaints from several MUSLIM countries, including Iran, Qatar, and Kuwait. In Pakistan, the leader of the JAMAATE ISLAMIPRTY denounced India at the rally on Thursday, local time. He also asked Islam countries to boycott India products and recall their envoy to New Delhi, that Muslims will never tolerate insults to Islam and its prophet. Pakistan and India has a history of bitter relations. since they gained independence from British colonial rule in 1947. The nuclear arms nation has fought two of their three wars of the dispute region of Kashmir, which is split between them both, claimed by both of its entirety. Let's go to the next one too. And this is another news article. Russian regime forces boosted after Turkey signals Syria operations. Russia and Syria regime forces, and this was published on June the 7th, 3 days ago at 4:44 p.m. And it says Russia and Syria regime forces have been bolstering in northern Syria, where Turkey may soon launch a operation against the PKK, TERRORIST groups, the Syrian branch, the YPG. Turkey's and opposition's Syrian officials says as the Ankara prepares for talks with Moscow. President Recep says 2 weeks ago Turkey would launch a military operation in Syria to extend the 30-kilometer, 20-mile deep safe zones along the border, aiming at the Rafat, and the Mamboja, if I pronounced that right, in regions of other areas further east. Russia warned over the weekend against military escalations in northern Syria, is sending Foreign Minister Sharif for talks on Wednesday. The two countries have close ties, and Ankara sought to mediate talks over Russia's war in Ukraine, but their support opposing sides in Syria may test Russian President Vladimir Putin's relation with only NATO members yet to impose sanctions on Moscow over the invasion. The two states are high for Erdogan without least tacit approval from Russian Syrian regime. Bashar Assad, powerful allies in the Syrian conflict. A Turkey operation will carry an additional risk of casualties. Russia and Turkey have checked each other's military ambitions at various points in the Syria wars, at times bringing them close to direct confrontation. There have not yet been signs of a significant Turkey military buildup in the border region, but reports of rockets and artillery exchange have been becoming more frequent in the past 2 weeks. Any Turkish operation will attack the YPG groups, a key part of the U.S.-backed forces that control large part of the northern Syria, and is regarded by Washington as an important ally against Daesh. Ankara sees its a group as an extension of the PKK. A spokesperson for the Turkey-backed Syrian National Army, SNA, in Russia was reinforcement positions near Tal Rafat, Mambaja, the Syrian outskirts of N al-Rab, Kobani, and Al-Asa, all towns of 40 kilometers or 25 miles of the Turkish border. It says since the announcement of the operation, Syria regime has its Iranian militants has mobilized and are sending reinforcements to the YPG. Major Yusuf Hamad told Reuters. Their intelligence has spotted Russian helicopters landing at an air base close to Rafah. He added, locals said on Saturday Russia making deployments in northern Syria to consolidate its control, flying reconnaissance flights over Rafah and setting up Panzer S-1 air defense systems in Qam Shali, a border town near 4,000 kilometers further east. The YPG Farhad Abdul Abdulhi Sahin, code name Mazarum Kalbani, told Reuters on Sunday Damascus should use an air defense system against Turkey. Planes and its forces were open to working with Syrian regime troops to fight off Turkey, but said there were no need to send more forces. Akron said, we must act because Washington and Moscow broke promises to push the YPG 30 kilometers or 18 miles from the border after a 2019 operation, with both powers seeking Turkey support over Ukraine. The conflict may offer a degree of leverage. Washington, whose backing for the YPG has long been a source of strains in the ties with Turkey, had voiced concerns, saying any new operation would put at risk of the U.S. troops will have a presence in Syria and underlying regime stability. Russia also said last week it has hoped Turkey refrains from action which could lead to a dangerous deterioration of the already difficult situation in Syria. A senior Turkey official said Lavrov will be asked about intelligence that he said pointed to the Syrian regime and Iran-backed forces either arriving at al-Tar Rafah or heading there. It says Turkey will do this operation one way or another, officials said, speaking on the conditioner anonymously. Asked whether Russia would strengthen its position in northern Syria, Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov told reporters it was Syrian armed forces that are reinforcing to a greater or lesser extent certain facilities on that territory. The Syrian regime does not comment on troops' movement, but the pro-regime newspaper of Al-Watan on Monday cited the northern Raqqa near the Turkish border as saying Syrian troops, tanks, and heavy military deployed over the weekend in response to Turkish moves. The Turkish official said that SNA Hamas said attacks from YPG-controlled areas against those under Turkish and Sinai control has increased. Hamas said Turkey and SNA forces were responding. The U.S.-backed and YPG-led forces in northern Syria said Thursday that they will turn to the government in Damascus for support should Turkey go ahead with its threat to launch a new operation into the war-torn country. The YPG said after a meeting of its command that it's priority it to reduce tensions near the border with the Turkey, but also prepare for a long fight if Ankara carries out its threats. The announcement appears to be a message directly at the United States and meant to elicit pressure from Washington on Ankara to put aside offense plans. On the ground, the situation has been tense, with nearly daily exchange of fire and shelling between the U.S.-backed YPG fighters on one side and the Turkey forces and Turkey-backed Syrian opposition gunmen on the other side. The Turkey-backed Syrian opposition fighters has been preparing for weeks to take part of the expected operation against the YPG forces, sending to expand their areas of influence inside Syria. One another relations between the YPG, who's controlled a large part of northern in eastern Syria, including the towns of Tyre and Mildred that Endorman has named its possible regions of Assad forces, has been mostly frosty over the past year, but face it's a threat. The YPG fighters may want those ties to thrall. So yeah, he's in the book of Luke 21 to 25. Perplexities of these nations and uproars of the people are those articles that I brung out. You know, uproars of the people between the two different nations against their political leaders, against their political figures, and then you got this perplexity of nations with the operation of what's going on down there in Syria, because the operation is going to start very soon. So you got Russia and Turkey regime forces being set up, being built up in that region over there. So yeah, that goes to show you of the signs of the times that we are living in. So with that, I hope this lesson was edifying through the spirit, power, grace, and mercy of Yahweh Yahushua. And first and foremost, I'd like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh Ba'Hashem, Yahushua Ba'Hashem, Rakar Kadash. Double honors to the elders, apostles, and great millstone, preaching His word truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim, scattered through the four corners of the globe, preaching His word truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim, scattered through the four corners of the globe, that be like unto the speckled bird, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. And till next time, I will say shalom and the ball.